Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. In this painting tutorial, I'm going to show you a demo to help spark your creativity with a vibrant, nature-inspired abstract painting. At the end of the video, I'll show you an image that this painting was very loosely based on. So I started out by toning this 10 by 10 inch or 25 by 25 centimeter cradled wood panel with permanent blue light, light olive green, and burnt umber. And those will be my main colors. But I'll also use lime green, cadmium yellow pale, yellow ochre, titanium white, and Windsor blue, as well as a magenta wax pastel near the end. And I'm just getting these colors down, blending them a little bit with a paper towel and wiping a little bit away. And then grabbing a catalyst wedge and adding some thick bits of light olive green. And this is where I can use that catalyst wedge to create some shapes which will really kind of come into play with this image that I'm again loosely basing this off of. And then I'm also grabbing a palette knife and just making some scratches to get some more texture in there. So for tools, I'll be using a catalyst wedge, a palette knife, some brushes, a small tree branch, and my hands. So using nature as inspiration for an abstract painting isn't just about putting colors on a surface. It's a way to connect with the beauty of the natural world and use that to ignite our creativity. And that means looking for inspiration from things like shapes and textures and forms and lines and movement. And that inspiration, that can be from something as grand as looking at the large shapes in a landscape down to zooming way in on the chaotic design of pebbles on a dirt path. So at this point in the painting, I'm using some of the yellow ochre, that burnt umber, and some of the cadmium yellow, and just blending and making some dark areas at the bottom and kind of pulling that up on the sides a little bit. And I really like the way that looked. Although I kind of had a direction in mind, I could have easily kind of focused more on the color scheme that I had going on right there at this moment. And I really did like this color scheme. And it still shows up in the end, but there's a lot more that comes into this. But I think just this as a whole right now, I like the way that looks, and it might come back and do another painting and kind of revisit that a little bit. But let's address the challenge here with doing nature-inspired paintings. Capturing the vibrant colors and intricate details of nature in an abstract painting can be a little tricky. How do you translate a blooming flower or an incredible sunset into an abstract painting? And sometimes it can be about capturing the essence of the subject or the scene. Sometimes it's about taking aspects of that subject or scene and using them in a painting. It's really all about letting your imagination run wild. By focusing on the colors and textures and shapes and movement within a nature scene, you can abstract its essence and create a work that evokes the feeling and the atmosphere of the place or subject without being a literal representation. So in this piece, it's not so abstract that you won't recognize some of the aspects of the subject that inspired it. And for the most part, I loosely focused on some colors, shapes, and movement. But I was fairly liberal with how I used it. So you can see there that I have used the the small branch to just make some kind of random thin lines throughout that painting, and added some Winsor blue at the bottom to add a little bit more contrast at the base of this painting. And I keep turning the painting around. I think this painting actually works in the end in just about every orientation, but I primarily focused on this orientation as I was painting. So let's talk a little bit more about translating natural elements. So colors is that's kind of, it's a little easier because nature provides quite a rich palette of colors. We can draw from the vibrant hues of flowers. Think about water with cool blues or greens or browns, or the reflections that can be in water. Or we also have those earthy tones of soil and rock and fallen leaves. And so color is, I think, one of the easier aspects to translate from nature. It's about learning to mix those colors and playing with that and experimenting with that. And then there's shapes and forms. Natural elements like leaves and rocks and waves and mountains. Those can all be simplified into geometric or organic shapes, and those can help us form the basis of our abstract compositions. And something like textures, the textures found in nature, smooth stones or bark, kind of a rough bark, and delicate petals, those can be mimicked through various painting techniques or even incorporated directly through mixed media. So, my suggestion is to practice and experiment with, say a piece of bark, and see what ways you can come up with to mimic that texture, and then use that texture in a piece. Not necessarily as bark, but the texture to help enhance your abstract art. So really, what I'm getting at is practice and play and experiment with some of the elements that you see. And some practical techniques, consider it kind of a field study. Take a sketchbook or a small canvas into a natural setting to capture your initial impressions. And those can serve as a way to generate ideas, more than you probably realize. And take pictures using images of nature as reference points or inspiration for abstract compositions. And then mixed media, like I said, you can incorporate natural elements such as leaves or sand or sticks or small stones directly into the artwork to create texture and interest. So really get out there and practice and play. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe. And as always, if you have any feedback or questions, I'd love for you to leave a comment. I'd also like to say a big thank you to Callie and Carol for their super thanks donations recently. I really do appreciate your support of this channel, so thank you. And you can see we're at the final bit here, showing different orientations. Also showed some close-ups, and I'll show you the painting, which is a piece of foxtail barley. And I wasn't necessarily looking at this image when I was painting, but this is what I had in mind. So thanks for watching, and keep on painting.